Hey guys, coming at you today with a delicious keto buttermilk biscuit recipe. I did tons of testing, tons of research. Gonna let you know alternatives to making it savory or sweet. I got many tips and tricks, so let's get started. Welcome back everyone. If you're new here, my name's Alicia and I'm a sous chef with a sweet tooth. Today I'm bringing you a keto buttermilk biscuit, but I'm also going to show you how to make it into strawberry shortcake. But because it's not strawberry shortcake season, I'm also going to show you how to make a strawberry jam that can go on this biscuit. So we're going to get started here. I already got my butter cubed up and I'm popping it into the freezer and keeping it there until we're ready for it. I already got all my dry ingredients kind of measured out here. I did coconut flour and protein powder, which that helps cut down on the carbs. And then what makes this taste like a biscuit is some oat fiber. So we're adding that in there, just 2 tablespoons. And then to make it very fluffy and have a texture of bread, I added a bunch of leavening. There's baking soda to react with our buttermilk and give it lift, and then there's some baking powder and then also some xanthan gum that's going to give it that chew that you're going to get from like a regular biscuit, and then just a little bit of salt because I'm using salted butter, but I have alternatives on my blog of different ways if you're using unsalted butter, if you're making it more sweet, more savory. And then because I am making it sweet today, I have 2 teaspoons of monk fruit sweetener, but you can use whatever sweetener you'd like. I'm just gonna mix all that together. You don't really have to sift. I'm just so used to sifting. You're putting it into a food processor to incorporate the butter, so it's not that big a deal. The big thing is that the food processor does not really mix the ingredients very well because it gets stuck underneath the blade. So you want to have everything kind of mixed together so that it's evenly distributed. I pulled out all these ingredients ahead of time so that they're kind of room temperature. If your cream cheese isn't soft, you can always pop it in the microwave for a few seconds. It just makes it easier to incorporate everything into the wet ingredients and get them nice and combined evenly. And I also put my 1 teaspoon of vinegar into macadamia nut milk. So you can use any alternative milk you want, but this makes your own homemade buttermilk. So now I have my immersion blender with the whisk attachment on it. It just is easier than my actual hand mixer that's insane. So I'm gonna mix this for 1 minute, get it nice and frothy and light. That is pretty much doubled in volume. So I'm gonna add in my soft cream cheese, blend that up. Careful not to let it go everywhere. The first time I hit this, I wasn't holding the cup and it went flying. So then into that, our buttermilk. Mix that up. And that's it for our wet ingredients. My goal with this buttermilk biscuit recipe, I had a few things that I wanted to make sure it had in it. 1, it actually used buttermilk. 2nd, it didn't have almond flour in it because I just find it grainy and not a great texture for baked goods in general. And I wanted it to be moist and fluffy. That's what the cream cheese adds to it. That's the reason I developed this specific biscuit recipe, and it is super light and fluffy and exactly what I was going for. So now we got to put our dry ingredients into our food processor. Trying to get it all in there and not around the sides of it. Then grab our butter out of the freezer. We're gonna add the butter into our dry ingredients. This is the best way I found to get the best results from your biscuit, but it's not necessary. You grate it on a plate and freeze it and then mix it in. It works great too. That's the second best method. 1 more pulse. 2 more pulses. Good. So you want there to be little pieces of butter in there still. You don't want it completely gone. You want to be able to see some of it because that gives you some pockets of yummy butteriness in your biscuit. Now you don't want this to warm up any. You got to work quick. See any bigger pieces, you want to break them up a little bit. Okay, once you got little pea-sized pieces and some mealy pieces, you add in your wet ingredients that are nice and frothy and give it a quick mix. And it's going to take a while to hydrate. So we are going to pop it into the refrigerator so that it doesn't warm up at all. So it's still not quite a dough, but it's going to hydrate. And then we'll be able to knead it a little bit and get it all rolled out into little biscuits. At this point is when you want to turn on your oven to 410 degrees. Now it is much stiffer of a dough. We're going to put it onto a clean surface. And we're just going to start forming it and kind of kneading it as we go. You want it to get to be a nice smooth dough. It gets a little bit messy, but a bench scraper really helps. You want to fold it over. If it is too sticky, you may have lost a little bit too much flour in the process of putting it in the food processor and things like that. So you can always add a tiny bit more of your coconut flour. Also helps if you have wet hands. If you're folding it into rectangles, we're going to divide this evenly into 6 portions. I'm actually going to do something that I meant to do last time when I made my final biscuit test. Is I was going to weigh the dough out so I knew how much each biscuit would weigh. That way they're super even. This is a totally extra step. That's just the pastry chef in me right now. 1 pound, 5 ounces, 21 ounces. We want to work a little bit quick here. I'm taking a little bit too much time. So cut it into 6. I'm going to wet my hands a little bit more and get on to shaping these into biscuits. You can also just cut them into 6 and place them onto your parchment. Bake them like that. Want them nice and smooth on top though. Now this makes very substantial biscuits. They're 4 grams of net carbs each, but you can literally make a breakfast sandwich out of this. They're that big. So there are our 6 Keto Buttermilk Biscuits. They're gonna be popped in the refrigerator for 10 minutes just to get solid. I might leave them in 15 because I've been messing with them so much. But then we're gonna be popping them in the oven for 16 minutes. Give or take a few minutes, and we're gonna be spinning them halfway through to make sure that they brown evenly. While that's all working, I'm just gonna do a quick macerated strawberry so we can do a little strawberry shortcake, which I know it's not strawberry shortcake season. With keto, we have limited options. I'm guessing they're very not ripe, so I'm gonna be adding a bunch of sugar to them, specifically Kanto granular monk fruit sweetener. You can literally use whatever you want and just sprinkle it over top of some sliced strawberries. You can add a tiny bit of lemon juice to this or just a splash of vanilla. So these are gonna be going into the refrigerator to sit. Preferably you'd want to do these the night before, but we should get some juices out of here. Then next we'll be getting on to some Keto Strawberry Jam. Now there are many variations to keto jam, and I have one in another video. I will link it up there. The raspberry jam I made for the cheesecake. But you can add any kind of sugar and some arrowroot starch or some gelatin or xanthan gum, something to thicken it. I also realized allulose works like a normal sugar. So if you use allulose with strawberries and cook it, then you'll have like a nice thick jelly. So that's what we're doing today. I have 8 ounces of sliced up strawberries, 3/4 of a cup of allulose, and then 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. I'm gonna fire this up and give it a good stir. I'm gonna add a pinch of water just to keep this from burning, but once the strawberries let out juices, it won't be a problem anymore, but I just wanna be careful. Just a splash for the bottom of the pan. There we go. So we're just gonna let that simmer away till it's nice and thick and gelatinous looking. Okay, as you can see, our jam is almost jammy-like. You can tell when it starts getting very glossy and sugary glass looking that it's almost done. I never use a thermometer at work when I make jam. Cook it down until it is a thick consistency. Now there's a couple different things you can do with this also. I don't know the difference between preserves, jam, jelly. What you have now is great to use for whatever you'd like. You can puree it, or you can completely strain out all the seeds and pulp. And then I think that's called jelly, I think. I also made a really small batch of jam because this only is gonna last a couple weeks in your refrigerator because we're not canning and preserving it. Feel free to make your own keto jam and do the canning and all that stuff. That looks good to me. So I'm gonna pull this off, put it into a bowl and get it cooling. Back to show you some biscuits when they come out of the oven. Fresh out of the oven. They look so good. They're so fluffy. I can't wait to try one of these with homemade jam. They look so good. I'm gonna put these onto a wire rack so that they don't get soggy on the bottom. They should be good to go right out of the oven. You can put them right onto your rack. Okay, I just really want to rip one of these open for you guys. They're so light and fluffy. Can't wait to eat them. They're so buttery too. Buttery buttermilk biscuits. They smell good. The oat fiber gives that little bit of like wheat almost. But there's no gluten in it, which some of them did have Vital Wheat gluten in them. I didn't want to do that either. This is the perfect keto biscuit for me, and I hope for some of you guys. As you can see, they're not cool at all. But I couldn't wait. I think our jelly's done, but our strawberries are not yet macerated. Okay, so it's really hard to wait, but our jam was not cool. It is now room temperature at least. It's still not cold, so it's still gonna get thicker than this, but I couldn't wait to try some on a biscuit. It looks so yummy. And it's getting even liquidier because my biscuit is still warm because, again, I cannot wait. And my boyfriend is like chomping at the bit right now to try this also. Looks so good. Oh man. Strawberries aren't in season. Make jam out of them because they're delicious. That is so good. These are perfect because I made sure I tested and tested until they were the best keto biscuits possible with none of the ingredients I didn't want in them. There's so many things you can do with this. Put some peanut butter on there, have a peanut butter and jelly. You can do the strawberry shortcake. You can spread like keto chocolate hazelnut spread on it. So many possibilities. And if you leave out the sugar, even if you don't leave out the sugar and just make it as is, it's still good with like sausage gravy or breakfast sandwiches or some butter and avocado. You can toast it up even more. It is an all-around great biscuit. So I hope you guys enjoy this recipe. I hope you guys make some of them because I would really love to see how much you're gonna enjoy these biscuits. If you enjoy this video, please hit the subscribe button, give the video a like, and share with your friends who might be missing their bread and their biscuits right now. And I'll be back with many more keto dessert recipes. Bye guys. Oh my God, it's so good.